when you start thinking about like the studio model, like somebody making a game or a utility or something like that, one of the things I see very often is somebody's got a great idea, and it's actually a really good idea, and they build it and they execute it pretty well, and they look at other people that are having more success, and they're like, well, why is that working and mine's not working? And it seems like they're often missing the whole picture, like marketing and content and all the other pieces. They're just super, like they're an inventor and a maker, and they don't want to go further out. Like, what do you recommend to those kinds of folks who they've caught something, but they don't know how to go deeper?
You know, the reality is there are a lot of great products and services that are undiscovered. It's just the reality, because it's one thing to do something great. It's a whole nother thing to have to be able to market and sell it. Just like you went door to door, right? Somebody had to go and do the sale. I sold door to door. When you've got something and you're more of a maker or more of a creator, you've got to go find communities where people share your interests. I mean, when we started AudioNet way back when in the 90s, no one knew what streaming was. It was called netcasting. It was called a lot of broadcasting, internet broadcasting. And that was back when Prodigy was big, CompuServe was big, the chat rooms were big, and Usenet was big. And so I literally would go into every forum and every grouping that I could find and say, hey, look, this is when we had 2 radio stations on. If you're from Dallas and you're interested in Texas sports, there's this thing called internet broadcasting, and you have to download all this different stuff. Well, it's analogous to today as well, where you can find communities and find ways to talk to people that have, the same interests as you do. And what's even better now is it's easier to proliferate, right? There's more of a net effect that's available to you if you get enough people talking about it. Using voice is one great opportunity, and I think a couple other things are going on that make voice more important as well.
So, say you're one of these businesses and you catch a little glimmer of success. How do you know there's this balance of like, am I actually successful? And like money is one measure, but what are other measures? And when should I bail on this idea? It's a passion project that I should like let go. Like there's a...
Everybody just defines success differently. I've always told people that if you can wake up in the morning with a smile on your face, excited about your day, knowing it's going to be a good day, you're successful. And so in terms of your business, you got to live at some level, right? But if you love what you're doing and it's not work, right? Again, all these stories, if there's too many stories, just tell me the story, shut up. Early on, I had to teach myself how to program. And, where there's basic, C++, database applications. And I would start, writing these applications for customers. And I'd start working on it. And I'd look up and I'd been sitting there for 24, 26 hours, not realizing, that I hadn't moved this whole time. I loved what I was doing. Now, I was living 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment. I was starving, right? I had a hole in the floorboard of my car, but I knew that, there was a light at the end of the tunnel if I kept on getting better at what I did. But had I not had the financial success, I still would have loved it. I've had businesses, though, that have failed before that. And when you don't have any customers, that's your answer.
Yeah.
Because even if it's a labor of love, I tried to play the piano and the guitar for a while, and we had a band called the Not So Human Beings. There's a reason why you never heard of it.
That's awesome.
But it was a great name. But yeah, and there was a time to quit. So when you don't have any customers and people aren't reacting to it the same way you are, one of the challenges of being an entrepreneur is that we all lie to ourselves. We're the best. We're the fastest, the greatest, the this or the that is. If you find yourself always describing your company and how you're different in terms of ers and s, you've got issues and you're probably lying to yourself. You have to be brutally honest. You have to ask yourself, if it wasn't me, if I was on the outside looking in, what would I say about this company? And if you're not able to do that, that's a bigger problem. But you just have to be brutally honest.